Exploring challenges and perspectives in Jamaican politics with Doreen Campbell.
She's a PNP caretaker for West Portland. Yes, she ran against Mr. Darrell Vaz. And what we're going to do today, we're going to put politics is not the reason why she's here. Not the reason why she's here. I'm going to play a video now. And when we play the video, we're going to bring in Doreen. No, I have to show some respect. Miss Campbell. We're going to bring in Miss Campbell. Until she tells me that I can call her Doreen, she will be Miss Campbell. And we're going to play a little video. And I want you to listen to this because it has to do with two things. But time is at a premium, so we're only going to be able to deal with it. One. Let me see if I find it, Oh, see it, All right. People, listen to this.
And when I came to that ministry in 2020, people's memories are short, but that ministry was not known for the right things.
You hear that? You hear him just done say? That ministry, what ministry? The ministry now occupies. Who was in charge of that ministry before Minister Vaz took over? The same lady who came out and with her gobbledygook try confuse you and tell you about a budget report and try confuse it with an audit report. So Minister Faval Williams.
Is it that memory that he's saying in short?
I don't know if he's talking about her memory or he's talking about people in general, but the one thing I do know is that he said he's criticizing the ministry, the same ministry that she was in charge of, and she failed over there. She went over to the Ministry of Education, dismal failure, and now they put her in a place where it would be like a square peg fitting in the right spot, but it's turning out to be a square peg trying to fit in a round hole. It can't work because she's even worse here. Because now all the attention is on her, because guess what? That's a very significant ministry. That's one of the most significant ministries in the government. Ministry of Finance. Without Ministry of Finance, nothing can happen. No money no come out, nobody no get paid, nothing gets done. And there she is.
That's not happening now.
That's what I'm saying. There she is right now, making more of a fool of herself, because she did so when she was at the ministry. This ministry, Mr. Vaz is now in control of, and the Ministry of Education. But let's go on.
And I was given the task, and with the help of P.S. Palmer, we've been there for 5 years. And the only thing that comes out of that ministry is good performance and good news.
That's not true, because I had to do an ATI the other night, 2 days ago, reminding you and Miss Palmer, she's gone now, that we ask about the buses. We have 2 ATI spending about the school buses, and under the ATI Act, you have a maximum of 60 days to respond, to give me the information, tell me you don't have the information, or you have to give me the information.
Where to get it.
Yeah, because in 30 days, you have to acknowledge my request. You have to give me the information, or you have to tell me that it's classified, or you tell me that you need an additional 30 days, 60 days. Right, total, to give me the information. This happened in July. We're now in January, and I haven't received it. So what I did, I sent it off to what's his name, Damien, who's in charge of making sure that complaints get pushed to the tribunal. So we shall see, we shall hear. Here we go.
Could not be done by me alone, but the permanent secretary and the entire ministry team. So I look forward to the transition, smooth transition, and I'm making every effort to make sure that P.S. Palmer's wealth of knowledge and experience will be utilized in the transition with a permanent secretary who is going into office for the first time. So I start with that. So again, good morning to all Jamaicans, even those still living with the aftershocks of a very difficult period, rebuilding homes, restoring livelihoods, and trying to return to some sense of normalcy after Hurricane Melissa. I want to begin by acknowledging the reality coming out of cabinet meeting on Monday.
Here you know, when you're going to hear something coming out of Minister Vaz's mouth that you would never expect to hear. Here you.
Monday, the government's focus remains firmly on the people or children who need safe, reliable transport to school, or communities that depend on connectivity to function, and families waiting for power to be fully restored so they can move forward. These are not abstract policy matters. These affect daily lives and opportunities. So today I'll give you an update as to where we are with restoration. And I will start with the Rural School Bus Program, and I'm pleased to report that the program continues to be operational, stable, and delivering good service. As of January 26, 82 rural school buses are
Hold on, people. Hold on. I thought he was going to talk about that. I misinformed you. I thought he was going to talk about JPS, but JPS is on the state, but he's talking about the school bus program. I'm glad because Miss Doreen, Doreen, let's get your full name. Doreen Campbell. Miss Doreen Campbell is here, and I'm glad that he's talking about the school bus thing because that's why Doreen is here. One of the reasons, and we're going to talk about that. But listen carefully to what he said.
an update as to where we are with restoration. And I will start with the rural school bus program, and I'm pleased to report that the program continues to be operational, stable, and delivering good service. As of January 26, 82 rural school buses are available and fully deployed across dispatch locations island-wide.
82 school buses. Okay, listen to this, people.
100 safe, secure, and fit-for-purpose buses have been purchased as part of the planned rollout. It's actually 110. 100 will go into the system and 10 will be held back for contingency in order to make sure that we have buses to replace existing buses for whatever reason. 26 buses are in Jamaica. 14 additional buses arrived on Saturday of last week. 4 more are en route to Jamaica. And 18 more will be delivered on July 14th, and 28 each will be delivered on the 22nd of July and the 30th and the 29th of July. So, in essence, all 110 school buses will be here by the end of July.
Me done. If Mike could have dropped the mic. Hear that, people? All 110 school buses will be in Jamaica by the end of July 2025. And hear him just don't say January 2026. 80-something school buses there at Jamaica.
82.
Don't want to know where the rest of the school buses them there, where the money there. Because guess what, people? You don't know, me have my school bus. Have it there, camera there. See my school bus there now. See that? $1 for my school bus. See there? $1. See me tie clear, you know, for my school bus. See me tie clear, right? And see me dollar, yeah, right? When you see me drive my school bus safe and secure. And in fact, it's just because of the weather, because I'm trying to get some more school buses because some people, some church people reach out to me and say, boy, we want some school bus, we want some school buses. And I told them about the dangers and all of that stuff. But we shall see. But how can you trust this man who come tell you now, say that JPS want 150 million and we don't have any verification as to how them going to spend the money? Because in the same video, you know what I'm saying? JPS told him that on a 40-mile stretch of road, I think it's in St. Elizabeth, they put up 1,000 light posts. And in this video, him come and say, why, him apologize because I found out that is 100 light posts them put up. But you're working on it. Them 900 shot, and him come and tell Parliament, says 1,000 we do already.
He must see in doubles with 100 zeros, Mr. Rattigan. Come on now.
What was that?
He was double focused. His glasses never cleaned, had double focus.
Here's the thing. There's a difference between writing it and saying it. If he wrote it, if he submitted it in writing, then you could say miss a zero. But when a man tell you watch my mouth, Kevin. 1,000, 1,0usand, 1,000 versus 100.
He was reading, so it's double vision. It's double vision.
1,000, 1,000, 100.
Him reading, Mr. Rattigan. Him reading, so him misread.
No, here's the other thing now. We'll bring on our guest now, a special guest, Miss Doreen Campbell. Here's one of the things that he said. We have the video. We're just not going to play it now because time is at a premium. But he said that he's following the American standard because they have it's a gold standard for safety, the buses, gold standard. One of the things that you will never, ever find in America is a crowded school bus where children are standing while the bus is moving. You will never see that. You will never see children standing in a school bus while the school bus is moving. The only time you see children standing in a school bus is the school bus is stationary and they're getting off or they're getting on and they're coming on to take their seats, or they get out of their seats and they're coming up, but not while that bus is moving. In Jamaica, we know for a fact that the buses are crowded and children are standing. Because why? One of the picnic them drop out of the bus the other day. Without further ado, let's bring on Miss Doreen Campbell. Doreen, no, sorry, Miss Campbell. forgive my manners. Miss Campbell, we only call people by first name if they allow us to do so. So if
That's
you
fine with me.
you're sure? Okay.
I'm positive.
All right. Well, look, welcome to Reason with Rattigan, and you're in the university because that's what we conduct around here on a Saturday. We try to teach our people. We try to present facts. We don't get into the salacious details about people's lives and things like that. We just talk about good governance, about what the government should be doing, what it's not doing, and also if it's doing something that we believe is deserving of credit, we give it. We say, yes, they're doing this. This is fine. It's hard these days to find something that you can point to and say, yes, this is working. This is a good plan. It's difficult. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It's just few and far between. So we are trying to educate our people around here so that they can become critical thinkers. They can ask the right questions and they can discern when somebody is lying to them or somebody is misleading them. And that's what we do on a Saturday. So we're very happy to have you here with us. And please go ahead and introduce yourself to our lovely students, our audience, and just tell us who Doreen is.
Thank you so much for having me. I've heard so much about you. But thank you so much for having me. I actually feel very honored to be on your program.
No, the pleasure, the honor and the pleasure is ours. We're happy to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So Doreen Campbell is my name, and I represented the constituency of Western Portland in the last general elections. I was the candidate against the gentleman that you were just referring to. And I served as a councillor in the constituency prior to running as a MP candidate. And I've been a part of the People's National Party for a very, very long time, since I was 19 years old. So I'm a university graduate.
You look 20 though. I must admit that. You've been doing it for 1 year, huh?
You sound like you're the politician. Is it you the politician or I'm the politician?
Well,
I'm just saying what Kevin is thinking. That's all.
Awesome, awesome. But you know what I say? Let me tell you what I say when someone say to me, "Oh my God, you look so much," and they give you a compliment. I said, "Listen, whether you meant it or not, it felt good hearing it, so I'm gonna take it."
All right. Okay.
go ahead.
So I'm a proud graduate of, I'm a very proud graduate of Clarendon College. I went to Clarendon College and I'm a original resident of Old Harbour, St. Catherine. I've been in Portland 33 years. I'm a graduate of the University of London Law School.
Outstanding.
And also a graduate of the University of Technology in marketing.
Outstanding.
So that's who I am.
All right.
Wait, before we get too deep, I noticed your name on the screen is Direen, Doreen versus Doreen.
So that was a typo.
So
Okay.
it is Doreen.
It's D-O.
Okay. I just wanted to be clear on that. Thank you.
All right. Well, look, the election went, so we're not gonna rehash that or try to litigate anything. What we're trying to do at this point is to understand the status of the rural school bus program in your constituency, because it has come to our attention that a student fell from a moving bus, sustained injuries, simply because the bus was crowded and the lever was in proximity to students. Now, we know in the United States that the lever is in proximity to the driver and the door is across from the driver so the driver can see people coming and going. Because they have retrofitted the buses in Jamaica, the entrance exit is now behind the driver. And so the driver now has to be extra careful as compared to a driver in the United States. And it's our understanding that when the child fell out of the bus, the driver didn't know. It was brought to the driver's attention by students. Please tell us, please give us a comprehensive account of your knowledge of this incident.
Yeah, it's really a very sad situation. So this incident happened December 1st. It involved a Marymount High School 14-year-old girl coming from school. She's actually from my constituency. She's from Buff Bay, actually. And the bus was crowded, standing room, and she was standing on the steps of the bus. It is my understanding that another child actually pulled the emergency lever, which caused the door to be opened and she fell out. When I spoke to the young lady, she told me that it was just the mercy of God why she was not ran over by the rear wheel of the bus. And she sustained damages to her knees. I think I have sent you the pictures of the young lady. Damages to her both knees. When she fell out, the driver was not even aware that somebody fell from the bus. It was the children in the bus who told the driver somebody fell from the bus. The child was taken to the Anata Bay Hospital where she was treated and sent home. And for 2 weeks, she was not able to go to school. Nobody paid any attention to this young lady. It was only after I did a series of interviews on the different radio stations that they released something to say that they believe the child was pushed. Now, whether the child was pushed from the bus or ejected from the bus, there are certain questions that needed to be answered. First of all, why was she even standing in the first place? Based on the buses that I know in the States, that the MP Darrell Vaz states that safety is the priority of this government. There is nowhere for children to stand. There is no convenient place for them to stand in the buses. When I was growing up as a child, going to school and taking the buses, we used to have those handrails and you could hold on. Even if you take the subway in New York, you can hold on. But with these buses, there's no rail. There's nothing for them to hold on to. So I'm wondering, what are they holding on to when they're standing in the bus? That's one. Two, why was there not a supervisor? One of the things that he said was that the buses were going to have a second person because of course, how the buses are, where the driver is in relation to what he's able to see. Why was there not a second person on this bus? Thirdly, if the emergency lever is pulled or the child is pushed and the door is open and the child is ejected, why is there no alarm system on the dashboard somewhere to notify the driver that this door is open? That is of concern to me. And of concern to me also is why after 2 weeks, nobody paid any attention in a serious way to this child, the well-being of the child, to ensure that the child receive the best possible care. Would she need an MRI? What would she need to get her back to good health in the fastest possible time? And could her parents actually afford to give her the best care? What I can say to you and your listeners is that her mother took her to the clinic in Buff Bay, which is where she's been treated after leaving the hospital. But the child is suffering from pains in her knees. So that is where things are. I don't know if they knew you were going to have me on today, but yesterday, the mother and the grandmother was visited by someone from the company, the bus company, and they spoke with the mother and grandmother about insurance for the child, that each child was insured and the bus was insured and all of that. So that's the kind of peace that they were trying to bring to the family, which for me is still very disappointing since this happened on the 1st of December last year.
Wow. Good, Professor.
There are some pictures that you did send. And since you mentioned them, Provost, if you'd be so kind as to share that screen for me. So,
Is this it?
This is the little girl. We're at the clinic.
The bandages on the two knees, yeah.
That was her at the hospital.
Okay.
Ooh.
Both knees.
Both.
Pretty fortunate. Generally, what happens when you fall, some of the extremities and joints, you get bruised first. And this is what happened with this girl here. She fell out and fell, apparently, face first.
Out of a moving bus.
Out of a moving vehicle. Thank you, Provost.
All right.
So yesterday, you said the family was visited and
Correct.
addressed about insurance.
Yes.
So the insurance is supposed to do what and cover what?
So not enough information was given, more than to say that clearly they're trying to say that they will be compensated because the child is insured once they're using the bus. So I guess it is to say, expect some form of compensation.
Right, so now, I guess this is not a question for you to answer, but Provost, here comes another set of questions that going down the line, we're going to need to get answers to, because if The bus is insured, the vehicle is insured, and those who are being transported on the vehicle are insured. What is that coverage? How
Absolutely.
much is being paid, and who is paying it?
Is the
So
bus actually insured or is it self-insured by the government?
We're not likely self-insured. And then the other thing is, do you know if a written contract was presented to the family, or was it all verbal?
Not yet. Not
Not
yet.
yet, meaning you
you
don't
don't
know.
know yet, or
No, no,
the
no.
contract is
Not
not
yet. No contract was presented to the parents yesterday. Remember, my background is
I don't know. I was gonna tell them don't sign anything.
that was already told. They were already told. I
All
told
right.
them this morning, do not
And in
sign.
fact, they're supposed to be just listening posts. They just sit there and go, uh-huh. Don't make any commitment.
Unfortunately, they spoke to the child. They took information from the child. They spoke to them. They don't have legal counsel, so I'm not sure what they were answering to. I don't know if some persons, understand that an injury of that nature, the impact might not be felt now,
No, right.
but might be
Right.
felt years down the road. And therefore, I did ask that they not sign anything until they get proper advice.
And this too goes to, again, Provost. It is not what the person who holds the position knows, is what everybody else know. It's what are your rights? Do you know your rights as it relates to when traveling on public transportation? If there's an incident or accident, where do you stand? What are you entitled to? If there are injuries or losses, who do you speak to? We don't.
You see,
People in Jamaica, we don't know these things.
no,
Now,
you see, when they came out with this rural school bus program, and they came out with it a long time ago, and we're still asking about the 200 million that Rural Reed, Dean Roy Bernard, and whoever else they got in 2017. There's an ATI pending. They still haven't responded to that. They still haven't responded. I'm asking them, where's the contract? Where did the money go? 200 million Jamaican dollars in 200 million 2017 dollars, and so far nothing. But when Minister Vaz came out with this program, what he was supposed to have done for the benefit of the Jamaican public, he was supposed to say one or two things. One, people, here's a website that lays out the entire program, everything that you need to do about the program, insurance, accidents, all these things. It's right here. Or he could have simply said, well, look, the buses, they're self-insured. The government is the insurance carrier on this. And in the event that there are accidents, then we depending on how the liability falls, then we will or we won't make amends. But the thing is, he didn't say any such thing. Instead, what he said was that the buses are safe and they have they follow the gold standard as it was in effect in the United States. So it's almost as if they never even prepared for something they weren't prepared for something like this to happen. So I don't even know if they have any documentation saying that we're going to cover these kinds of incidents. I don't even know, because nothing about that was ever mentioned. All we heard was that the buses are safe, the buses are safe, the buses are safe. And we were telling them the bus is not safe because, one, there are environmental problems. That's one. Two, there are also emissions problems inside the bus. And not too long ago, we saw a report where children were bleeding from the nostrils. They were getting sick on the buses, all of these things. And Minister Vaz acknowledged that these things were happening. Because he said, yeah, we send medical personnel, we send JCF, we send other to address the issue. And I don't think that this thing was thought through properly. Not think. I know it wasn't thought through properly. I know. Because when you have a government that's going to put out a document saying, yeah, we're getting 110 new school buses. And then when we check we didn't even need to check. We just by a physical inspection would have revealed this. But when we check the VIN numbers, we said, well, wait a minute. These buses were made back in 2015. Some of them 2015. That's 10 years
Those
ago.
are the newer ones.
Yes, some in 10. I think there were some in 2010, I believe.
2010.
Yeah. And we said, then these can't be new. Then they said, oh, it was a typo. And guess what? Mr. Danville Walker, he referenced a letter from Minister Vaz, and in the reference it says new buses. And so we filed an ATI saying we want to see the letter that Minister Vaz sent to you, Mr. Walker. And so far, nothing. But we will get the letters. We'll get the letters and we'll expose it. We'll expose all this nonsense to the Jamaican people so that they can see for themselves, because a lot of them, like you were saying, Kevin, they don't know, and some of them don't know, and some of them don't know any better, and they don't know where to start. And that's our job. We are their advocates. without us, them going, it's, I mean, when you look at the university hospital situation, believe me, folks, we won't get to it today, but I'm telling you, it's going to take more than one show, because when we go through the case studies and you see how they're ripping off the Jamaican, when I get calls from people going to the university hospital surgery, or their family members going, and they said, oh, see if you can find this spin in America, see if you can find gauze, if you can find, and I said to them, why, these are just basics. Why, how come you don't have them? They said, no, you have to pay for them, you have to buy them when you do surgery. So what? Yeah, you have to buy them. And then when they look and see how much money they're charging, they're bringing the stuff for a private company, and the private company get all the benefits, including the benefit of having university hospital pay for some of the taxes. And then they turn around and sell the thing for 3 times, 4 times back to, no, man. And is the taxpayers paying for this? Because the University Hospital of the West Indies, it's subsidized to the tune of 75% by the government of Jamaica. The other 25% come from countries within the region, but 75% of the funding for the University of the West Indies, the hospital, Jamaican taxpayers. And this is how you treat Jamaican taxpayers? No, man. No, man. So, Doreen, tell us what else is going on, if there's anything else going on in your neck of the woods.
The constituency of West Portland has been represented from 2007 with the present member of parliament. And I'm yet to point to show something that I can say, stand proudly. Because even though I am PNP, I see myself as a community advocate more than I see myself as a politician. I want the best for this constituency and the many communities that serve this constituency. And I'm yet to find something that I can say. After 20 years of being the MP, at least we can say we got this from the member of parliament. Absolutely nothing. Nothing is going on. There's no job creation. Our youth have nothing to do. Our farmers have basically thrown up the farmlands. There's no coffee in any serious way as it used to be. There is just nothing. We had an MP that was more focused on the eastern side of Portland. Thank God for Isaac Buchanan. And I believe that if Comrade Isaac Buchanan was not able to pull that seat off, we probably would have seen the name Portland being renamed to Vasland. And so I'm very happy. Even though I lost my election, I'm very, very happy that Isaac Buchanan was able to pull off Eastern Portland. He has really saved the parish of Portland. But back to the West, unfortunately, I don't have anything to share with you that is of good news. So our taxi operators, they're just on top of each other. When you look at the line of cars waiting to transport residents, everybody gets a little money, try to do a little taxi, everybody doing round robin, everybody trying a little bingo. The western side of Portland has become a hustling constituency. The same money just being circulated. It's not like anybody is getting wealthy.
There's no growth.
There is absolutely no growth. As a matter of fact, this constituency has regressed. The road network is atrocious. The rivers have taken over most of the land connected to most of the people's houses that surround the river because there's no river treatment. The bridges are all dilapidated, all in need of maintenance. I know your listeners probably thinking, that is my job. Oh, you're PNP and he's JLP, so you're just opposing him. Actually, I'm not. If there was good things happening, I would have said, other than this, but I can't say other than this. What I can say is we have been represented by an MP who clearly has shown no care. There's no duty of care. There is just nothing. He comes to the constituency just about when it's time to be re-elected. And unfortunately, our people re-elected him. Many of them have already said that they regret it because they were promised this and they were promised that. But it is what it is.
Let me share something with you. Kevin, do me a favor before you ask the question. Just put up the picture of the two politicians.
Which?
The picture of Mr. Vaz, Minister Vaz.
Oh.
And yeah. And while you're doing that, I just want to play a quick video for Doreen. I don't know, is this your first time watching? I know it's your first time being on the program, but is this your first time watching the program?
Absolutely.
All right, let me play something for you here. You just mentioned growth. Let me play this for you. We played it last week. We'll play it again because I need to add 2 things, and I'll add them while it's being played.
So here's a fascinating economic puzzle for you. Imagine a country that does everything the textbooks say you should do. It slashes its debt, it gets unemployment down to almost nothing, But for some reason, its people just aren't getting any richer. Well, today, we're going to unpack the Jamaican paradox. And it's this really compelling story about how a healthy economy can still leave its citizens feeling completely stuck. Okay, let's dive right into this. You know, if you just look at the data, Jamaica's economic turnaround over the last decade looks like a straight-up miracle. But here's the thing. The numbers on a government spreadsheet, they don't always tell you the whole story of what's happening on the ground. So let's start with the debt. Back in 2013, Jamaica was really on the edge, with its national debt at a truly staggering 147% of its entire economy. But through some incredible, painful fiscal discipline, they managed to chop that all the way down to just under 60%. I mean, that's what kind of turnaround that makes international financial institutions stand up and applaud. It's a textbook success. And then you look at unemployment. At just 3.5%, it's a number that most developed countries would be absolutely thrilled with. That's basically full employment. It suggests a booming economy where pretty much anyone who wants a job can get one. So the debt's under control, everybody's working, things should be great, right? Well, this is where the paradox really hits you. In spite of those fantastic headline numbers, the average Jamaican worker's paycheck just doesn't go any further than it did years ago. Sure, their wages have gone up, but the cost of everything else has gone up right alongside them, leaving them feeling like they're just running in place. And that is the mystery we're going to solve. To really get what's going on in Jamaica, it helps to have something to compare it to. And it turns out there's a perfect case study right next door, the Dominican Republic. I mean, they share a similar spot on the map, a similar history, but their economic stories, they couldn't be more different. And this table just lays it all out. First, notice the debt to GDP ratios. They're almost identical. So from that one metric, both countries look pretty responsible. But that's pretty much where the similarities stop. The Dominican Republic's economy is over 6 times bigger, and it's growing more than twice as fast. But the really critical number, the one that tells us about the wealth of the average person, is that last one, GDP per capita. And this bar chart, this just brilliantly illustrates what that gap looks like in the real world. The average person in the Dominican Republic has more than double the purchasing power of the average Jamaican. Now, that's not just a number on a chart. That's a massive, tangible difference in living standards. It proves that something fundamentally different is going on under the hood of these two economies. So, what is that fundamental difference? Well, it all comes down to a concept that economists have a name for: the productivity trap. You see, Jamaica has gotten fantastic at creating jobs, but it hasn't gotten good at creating value. Let's just break down what labor productivity means. It's simply the economic value that each worker produces. It's common sense, really. If that value goes up, a company can afford to pay its workers higher wages without having to raise its prices. But if productivity stays flat, then real wages, what you can actually buy with your money, they can't grow. And this right here is the absolute core of Jamaica's problem. And this phrase from the analysis we looked at, job rich but growth poor, is just the perfect diagnosis. The economy has created thousands and thousands of jobs in places like security services, basic retail, simple call centers. These are jobs for sure, but they don't generate a lot of economic value for each person doing them. And that traps workers in a cycle of low wages. And this chart just shows you the structure of the problem. A huge 70% of the entire economy is in services, and a really big chunk of that is in these low productivity sectors. It acts like a giant anchor, just holding back the potential for real sustainable wage growth for the whole country. So the big question is, why? Why hasn't Jamaica developed more of those high-value industries like its neighbor has? Well, the analysis points to 3 powerful forces that are acting like these hidden taxes on the economy, making it incredibly difficult for those high-productivity businesses to ever get off the ground. And here they are, the 3 big constraints on growth. First, an absolutely astonishing brain drain. Second, the heavy, heavy economic cost of crime, which you can think of as a kind of security tax. And third, cripplingly high energy costs that just kill any chance at being competitive. Let's just take a quick look at each one. Okay, get ready for this number because it's almost hard to believe. Over 80% of Jamaicans with a university-level education leave the country to work somewhere else. Think about that. The country invests all this money in educating its brightest minds, only to watch them go build the economies of the US, the UK, and Canada. You just can't build high-value industries if your skilled workforce is constantly heading for the exits. Next up is that security tax. The direct cost of crime is a massive 3.5% of GDP every single year. But the indirect cost, that's maybe even worse. Businesses have to spend their money on things like fences and guards and armored trucks instead of investing that same capital in new technology or research or training, all the things that would actually boost their productivity. And finally, the competitiveness killer. Look at this chart. It's not even close. Electricity in Jamaica costs more than double what it costs in the Dominican Republic. How can you possibly run a factory or a food processing plant or any business that uses a lot of energy and hope to compete? It basically forces the economy into those less energy dependent and often less productive service jobs. So you see how this works, right? These three things, the brain drain, the crime, the energy costs, they create this vicious cycle. Low productivity leads to low wages, which causes your best talent to leave, which prevents those high-value businesses from ever starting, which, of course, keeps productivity low. So how on earth does Jamaica break free from this trap? So what's the final verdict here? Well, it's clear that getting the national budget in order was a crucial first step, but it is definitely not enough to create actual prosperity. Without a revolution in productivity, wages are just going to stay stuck. The self-reinforcing trap of high costs and brain drain has to be broken. The country really needs to shift its whole mindset from just stabilizing the economy to fundamentally transforming it. And this quote just captures the entire issue perfectly. The danger for Jamaica isn't some dramatic collapse anymore. The real danger is just settling into a permanent state of stability without prosperity, becoming a well-managed poor country. And that leaves us with a really critical question that goes way beyond just Jamaica. This whole paradox is a powerful lesson for any country, really. It forces all of us to ask, how do you build an economy that doesn't just look good on a spreadsheet, but one that genuinely feels prosperous for the people who have to live and work in it every single day?
Unmute.
Yeah. Let me just add to that when she mentions crime, corruption is included in the crime. And the service industry, hospitality workers, it's low-paying job. Yes, you can find a job. You can't afford to go to the job because the money they're paying you is just enough for you to just pay your bus fare, maybe eat lunch. You can't raise your family on that. Now, Doreen, I don't know if you've seen this. We play this quite a lot around here, and it's very appropriate. You know, one of the reasons why they keep voting for him, and one of the reasons why they don't pay attention to the video that we just talk about the economy, the growthless jobs and all of that, because of this.
Oh my God. And they're stupid. They are dunce. Oh my God.
Bring it back.
They're dunce. Oh my God. And they're stupid.
They're dunce, they're dark, and they're stupid. No, we have almost an hour. 56 minutes left. I want to show you one picture, and I want to play one video, and watch these people.
Went at each other. They clashed over who is adopting the better strategy, and it is something that we have to pay attention to. Yes, Philip Paul will accused Daryl Vaz of being clueless in his approach to the negotiations with JPS over a new All Island electricity license. Yes, he said Vaz don't know. No, let me use his word. Clueless, without a clue. You know, no knowledge of what going on. Vaz hit back at Paulwell, saying that you shut up. You're the one who burdened Jamaica with a bad license in the first place. Yeah? Here's Siobhan Campbell's report on the clash between the two of them.
Dishonest and disingenuous. That's Energy Minister Daryl Vaz's response to Philip Paulwell's claims regarding the current JPS license negotiations. On the social media platform X, Paulwell wrote, "Why is Daryl Vaz afraid to do a one-on-one public debate with me on the high price of electricity? Is he afraid that it will be revealed that he doesn't have a clue about the various policy options and that we don't have to wait until 2027 for a new JPS license?" Minister Vaz did not let the slight go unchallenged. He accused Paulwell of dishonesty, saying nobody has ever suggested that the country has to wait until 2027 for a new license. The minister says it is telling that even the architect of the flawed license, Philip Paulwell, sees that it cannot and should not continue. Minister Vaz also highlighted that Paulwell is an energy consultant. He also says the current license was negotiated and signed by the PNP and renewed by Paulwell as energy minister in January 2016. The energy minister says the terms facilitating this increase are a direct result of the 2016 license negotiated and implemented by Paulwell and the PNP. Minister Vaz also stated that Paulwell has the opportunity to debate him in the lower house, which he does annually during sectoral debates. This, he says, is a fact Paulwell should be aware of as leader of opposition business in the House. He also says he doesn't need a debate to remind Jamaicans who sued the citizens over the JPS license. Minister Vaz is alluding to the 2012 lawsuit from Citizens United to Reduce Electricity, CURE. CURE challenged the constitutionality of the license held by the JPS. However, the challenge was dismissed by the Supreme Court. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
Thank you, Siobhan. So that is...
You're muted again.
Yeah.
Remember,
Judith,
you have feedback with the videos.
yeah. Judith Hibbert, big up yourself. I forget a star. Here's what Judith Hibbert just mentioned. I want you to just look at the optics. Observe the optics. And I'll show you what's written below. Take a look at that. Two of them are doing this, in the parliament. And if you recall, remember I tell you, I come from Waterhouse, and when I was growing up, I was told that friends that I went to school with, who live across the gully, places that I used to play football, friends, they're enemies, avowed enemies. We chat to them, we don't have nothing to do with them, and if we see them, we kill them. That's what was fed to us by people who lived upon the hill, fed to us by politicians. When we say this, we can't understand it. We just don't understand it. We don't. I'm not saying that we shouldn't understand that, there's no reason why we shouldn't understand it. We just don't, because it was inculcated that them the panasada, we the panasada, we don't have nothing to do with them. At what Mr. Vaz wrote below. He said, Darrell Vaz, taking a break to be with my comrade, godfather, Howard Bowsey Hamilton, that's this gentleman here on the left, and my colleague and friend, Member of Parliament Philip Paulwell, on his birthday. Yesterday, we attended Parliament and had heated exchanges on behalf of our constituents, and today we are having a drink. A prime example of how politics should be practiced. Always lead by example, Jamaica first every time. No, if they taught us this, saying, look, you can have a heated discussion with someone, but it doesn't mean that the person is an enemy. Be fine, but that's not what they told us. That's not what they taught us. Taught us that you have to be a diehard, and them people, they will wear a different color than you, are subscribed to a different political rhetoric. If you hate them, look, we have people, even on this platform, who are diehard. Look upon the diehards. I want all of the diehards to take a look at this. And tell me if people, some of you who dislike me to the very bone, if you would have come and have a meal with me because we disagree on certain political views. And remember what I said to you, people. Remember what I said to you. These two gentlemen, the one in the long sleeve shirt and the one in the blue jacket, they are both responsible for the high cost of electricity in Jamaica. Darrell Vaz is correct when he said that Mr. Paulwell, MP Paulwell, the 2016 license, the license was done just before the election. It was done in January. It was done just before the election. But here's something even more important than the license. The Electricity Act was passed in 2015. Who was in charge of the ministry at the time? This same gentleman in the blue jacket. But Minister Vaz now get up and say, oh, the terms were bad from the beginning and they're bad now. Well, wait a minute. So long it take you to find out? Because guess what? You went to that ministry in 2020, I believe. And it's only 2025 you find it useful for call out Philip Paulwell and say, well, then what? Philip Paulwell and the PNP, they're responsible for the situation we're in with JPS. No, both of you are responsible. And who suffer? The people. Remember what I'm saying now? When two elephants fight, the grass suffer. We are the grass people. That's what I'm telling you. So now for wake up this die-hearted business. Now for wake up, look at issues. Don't look at personalities. Look at the issues. You hear what Doreen said. Doreen said she can't really find anything to point at to say, well, then we can attribute this to the hard-working Mr. Vaz and his longevity in Parliament. So why is it that people go and vote for him again? Why? And when I talk about this, I mean, this speaks for itself. You don't need me to tell you, no? Because a lot of you who didn't see this photograph before probably think that Paulwell, the way how Minister Vaz go after Paul and Paul go after him, that they wouldn't even be speaking at all. And here it is. Look what him call him. Him never said me show up for him birthday. Him say, my colleague and my friend. I can tell you some stories, what happened in Jamaica with politicians, I can tell you some stories because I've lived those stories. I come from a place, like I said, where I wasn't even the other people, they just for dead. The people crossed the other side of the gully. And later on in life, I ended up not down in a Waterhouse, but up a Stony Hill, Graham Heights and all of them places there. where the politicians them live. And when I see the politicians them getting, I was confused. I said, what's going on here? This is not supposed to happen. And people said to me, no, this is how the game is played. They come down to Parliament and they put on a show for you guys. And then they turn around and they come back up on the hill and they have them drinks and they go to the same church, they go to the same social activities, they go to the same clubs, the children go to the same schools. Some of them have businesses together. Some of them even marry cross party line. So me no want nobody come tell me about them are die-hearted and not like that. And whenever you think about being die-hearted, look on this picture. Look on this picture. Look on this picture. On the screenshot it. Look on this picture. And don't forget, screenshot that. We attended Parliament and had heated exchanges on behalf of our constituents, and today we're having a drink. Look on that, get that. And then if you can absorb that and believe it, then it's time for you to give up the die-hearted business and say, well, you know what, let me extend the hand of friendship to somebody from the other side. Let me get along with people. Because if these two politicians can get along, then there's no reason why we as a people can't get along. But we won't get along, you know why? Because they are the same people who tell you say you mustn't get along with them other people. Jamaica, Alan, you're right. This is not new. It's just that it's being exposed. It's just like when somebody would have said, police brutality is not new. It's just that people have cameras now and it's being reported. This is not new. This is not new. So I just wanted to show you folks that, and we don't even get into the JPS thing yet. You know, we have a whole segment on JPS now where we go all the way back to the 1920s when JPS was first formed and come all the way up to 2026. We have a whole tab on that. Time is at a premium, and we have Doreen here, so we have to show respect for Doreen and give back Doreen the platform. So, Doreen, what do you think so far about what you see and what you hear?
We're talking about JPS though. What I see and hear about Western Portland, the school bus, which one specifically? There's so much surrounding this gentleman that I would prefer if you just be very specific with me.
All right. We spoke a little bit about the rural school bus program. We didn't talk about JPS except now I just showed the thing. Talk to us about JPS and the impact it's having on Western. Oh, by the way, before I go any further, it is important people to note, and we're going to play it next week, when they come out and tell you that, oh, it's 70% electricity has been 70% restored, 80% restored, whatever the number is. People, again, students, think carefully. The question you must ask is the restoration, the number that the percentage you're quoting us, is that in the affected areas? St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney? Is the restoration that you're talking, the 80%, is it in the affected areas or is it nationwide? Because here's what they did in anticipation of Melissa. Them turned off the grid. They turned off the grid. How do I know this? People within JPS attempt them turn off the grid. And so, and that's a good thing to do. So you turn off the grid, and when the hurricane passes, you go out and do your assessment to make sure the lines are up, the poles are up, all that stuff. Because you don't want to have the grid on and then you have live electric wires all over the place. You're talking about fires, electrocution. You don't do that. So then what happened is they go out, they do the assessment, and they say, okay, no damage. And then they restore power. And they count that as restoration. People think, and ask questions. Doreen, the floor is yours, please.
You know, when we touch on electricity, we need to look at people's quality of life. And most people cannot afford to have a good quality of life. They can't afford to keep cool. We live in a tropical country, but people are afraid to keep cool because they're afraid of what the end of the month bill is going to look like. You know, a lot of people say they leave Jamaica and they go off to greener pastures. I'm the opposite. I actually came home. I came back to Jamaica. And to me, nowhere no better than yard. Nowhere no nicer than Jamaica. Nowhere at all. And electricity, I'm not surprised it's on that list because the cost of power has caused our people not to live. I'll give you an example. I went to my mother in Old Harbour and I was stringing up some Christmas lights because I wanted to bring that level of cheer to the home for Christmas. And as soon as my mom see me putting up the lights, she said, Anne, remember JPS? Because they called me Anne as a child. It's my pet name. She said, remember JPS. If I go to my mom and I want to take a shower, I have to wonder if she's out there just watching if the light bill going to go up. It's not she paying it though, you know. But even though it's not she paying it, she's still very conscious. She's still very conscious of the fact that if you have a bath using hot water, then the power bill is going to be that much higher. It's very sad.
Unfortunately, it is our reality.
But it is a reality.
You're an advocate, been in Portland, you said 43 years?
Yes, I've been here.
Okay, that's all your life. Okay. So as you have represented your people, what kind of, I'll put it another way, what kind of representation
I'm
have
getting
you
a feedback.
yeah, because Provost, go ahead, mute. Or turn on your monitor. One of the two. What form has your advocacy and representation taken?
So I try to highlight as much as possible the things that are impacting our people negatively. I try very hard to advocate for them. But I tell you something, these people control media, you know, and I believe that there's a catch and kill going on. When you try to educate the public about some of the things relating to Western Portland, and you try to get onto the media outside of TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. Once you try
Mainstream
to get to
media.
mainstream media,
Okay.
there's a block. You will submit things and it's not highlighted. And I believe that there's a catch and kill going on as it relates to my member of parliament, anything to do with him. So that's a very good question. But so what I do, I communicate mainly through social media to my constituents, and I'm very visible in the constituency. So even though I lost the election, I haven't left the people.
Okay.
I'm still with them. I still continue to serve them. Bear in mind that I mainly lost the election simply because of lack of external support.
Okay.
External, not internal.
But when you
External
say
support.
when you say you're there for the people, you're with the people, what exactly are you doing?
So, for instance, I'll give an example. This week, I highlighted in a serious way a major problem that stemmed from Hurricane Melissa, where one of our residents' house was actually, half of the house was actually hanging over the river. Months before Hurricane Melissa, I spoke about and reached out for assistance for the community of Charlestown. Charlestown is a maroon community, and like most of our communities, it's along the river. We're either along the river or we're along the seacoast. And it was very obvious that if there was some level of river training, that where the water, like what we got from Melissa in the river, that the people would lose their land. Well, months later, after I kept speaking about it, the river did in fact take all that land away from the residents, the back of their yards, took it away. More than a quarter acre of people's land is gone to the river because the river is just running wild. And this particular person, her name is Andrea, half of her 3-bedroom house, concrete, beautiful, pictures of it, is resting over the river. So I spoke about that. And of course, National Works Agency came to her rescue. They came, they visited, and I went back because last week the equipment they were using broke down, but our house was still hanging. I spoke about it again on Newstalk 93 FM last week, and now this week they actually came back and started doing some remedial work to save her house. So those are some of the things that I'm doing. Identifying where the issues are and making it public, because the representation is really not here. The eyes is not here. Is not here. So I am the eyes and ears of the voiceless in the constituency.
So that is raising some awareness to what is needed to be done, right? What are you effecting? What are you making happen? What are you going out there saying, all right, you guys need this. I have these resources. Let me reach out to them and come back to you. What have you been doing?
Okay, so the election is, we just had the election September 3rd, and it's just natural after losing an election. That's a very good question, by the way, but I've not started, other than Christmas, where I did 200 care packages for those who are vulnerable and needed assistance. I have not started that kind of work again, because when you have lost an election that you have been on the ground 2.5 years campaigning for, you have to take some time to take care of yourself.
Understood.
And I have pulled back, but not stepped away. And for now, I am just trying to get my financials standing where it needs to be, back on track, before I push once again, because we have the local government elections coming up. So I have to give some time to look about me, take care of me before I get back out there in serious advocacy for the people. But I do have some plans, some very simple plans. The community is without entertainment in any serious way, just some simple things like The Voice. You're aware of The Voice in America. America
Yes.
Got Talent.
Yes.
But Western Portland, when people say they come to Portland, they're actually referring to Eastern Portland. They're not referring to the western side of Portland. And it is my intention to highlight more of what we have to offer from the western side of Portland. We got talent. We got people here who have a lot to offer, but they can't be, they don't know how. They're not exposed. They don't know how to. They don't know how to access the government resources. So one of the things my offices will be doing will be helping them to get registered for certain things that they should be registered for. The government is there. The resources of the government is there. The people are entitled to it, regardless of who you voted for. But if they don't know that it is there, they can't access it. So a part of what I will be doing is to be able to help them to access these resources.
All right. So people often refer to me as being hard on people that come on this program. Here's how I see someone like you in your position. Here's what I expect to see. Regardless of winning the vote or not, the connection being made, the assistance being given, resources being found. Because for me, representing people comes with just doing that. Going out there, meeting the people, finding out what it is that they need, whether they're in your constituency or not, and getting the assistance to them. Having been in politics, you've probably met some people along the way. You should have by now. You should have made some connections. And you should be able to reach out to some people and ask, hey, I have a family here that I want to help with tablets, want to help with school shoes, want to help with 2 months ago, this was the family I helped. 5 months ago, this was the family I helped. And I understand you're taking some time out for you right now, as you should. This is what I expect to hear as someone who is looking to take on a position where you're going to be representing the people. I want to know about the people that you've already helped.
Well, that's something I can quickly share with you.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
I can quickly share that with you. I was a counselor before. I have built a tennis court, an all-purpose tennis court in this constituency. I sent tons of people off on the hotel and the farmer program. I have sent many kids to university overseas. One of my proudest moments is a particular young lady that I was able to assist with the University of Virginia, right? I remember going into the division and I saw her home. And I remember her going to Titchfield High School. And I remember her family was very proud when she got accepted and she was now going off to college. But I was in the community in January and I saw her sitting on her veranda. I'm like, what the heck are you doing here? She can't pay the school fee. I said, heck no. So I went about representing her and I was able to get her school fee paid. And she's now a citizen in the United States. She went back to college, graduated, married with children. And now a citizen of the United States from the University of Virginia. I have built roads in my constituency, in my division. I have built retaining walls. I have sent kids to school. The exact amount is 14 kids every Monday morning. Comes for their lunch money. And the only way you're going to get it next semester is if your report card is saying that you are indeed
Performing. At least to a certain level, an agreed level.
Yes. So I've done that. I've bought sewing machines for people because honestly, I'm speaking to you in a little relaxed way, but I believe in improving people's lives. So anybody that I meet, I must leave them moved, touched, and inspired. I must ensure that tomorrow is a better day for them than today, whether I win or I lose. So I have served them in that way. I have helped people to buy trucks so that they can do their haulage. I have helped people to acquire land, government land in this constituency. My footprints, my name, it's here.
And that is what I'm talking about. When I ask the question, why? Because there is the mindset that it is the person who was voted in that needs to do certain things and them alone. I personally don't feel that way. So this is my personal feelings. And that what you spoke about just now is the kind of thing that makes me say, yes, here is someone that is doing for the people. Now, I don't know how
Absolutely.
anybody else feel about it. Some people in the chat were chastising me for asking you a question like that. Say that's the MP job and if you want to take that position, you'd have to show me
Absolutely.
that you can do that work.
Absolutely. Except there has to be some limit to that
Yes.
expectation.
Oh, yes.
Because the member of parliament, like Christmas that just went, got $10 million. Well, I know from our side they got $10 million. I don't know what the ministers of government get. In other words, I don't know the amount my MP get. But
Yeah.
I know that if my MPs from the PNP side who are in opposition was able to get $10 million for Christmas work, I can just imagine how much my Darrell Vaz got. Okay? But where did that money go? Some of the things that it is supposed to be used for clearly wasn't done. Am I going to take up the challenge and make it happen? No. Christmas just went by. I just lost an election. Where's the Christmas tree for Western Portland? Where is the Christmas, not just the tree, but where's the treat for the kids? Where's Santa Claus? Where's the cheer? Where's the joy? Should I have done that? Or would I have done that if I was the MP? If they had elected me instead? If they had elected me instead, Christmas here would be something to remember. I know this constituency like the back of my hand. I understand the needs of the residents of Western Portland. And as much as I would love to be able to attend to these needs, I have constraints. I am not the member of parliament.
But
I
you see
do
what
not get $7 million for back to school assistance. I'm going to have to come on your program, reach out to people to ask for assistance to buy somebody a tablet. I don't have that.
And
so we are constrained. The other thing that I want you to understand, Mr. Rattigan, when we go in and say to different services that we would like this for the people, the message goes back to your to the MP, you know, and you can what you're looking for, it just don't work for you. So I'm just saying, politics, when you're not in it, seems like if I was in it, this is what I would have done. But look at Doreen. Doreen ran against MP that a lot of people have fear for. They're afraid of him. And what am I talking about? I'm not just talking about physical fear. Business people who look on me now and was surprised because the last election him winning by 2,500 votes. This election him ended up with 1174, right? And people are now saying to me, oh my God, if I had known, I would have helped you. I ran against this member of parliament myself with 1 and 2 person to give me assistance. Everybody else afraid. Them don't want him to know because them don't want them business impacted. And I took on Goliath and cut his numbers in less than half. And I'm still here for the next round. Not going anywhere because the people deserve the best representation possible and they're not getting it from who they have. Western Portland have one of the wealthiest MPs in this country, and the people are at the poorest they've ever been. This constituency have regressed. And sorry if I'm becoming passionate. But
No, you're supposed to be
touched me earlier when you said normally you ask hard questions. So it gives an impression like, what are you doing for the people? Well, these people know I fight for them. If it's up to me alone, I lay down in Buff Bay town. No car can pass unless you go over me if I need things. But when you do that, persons who you'd expect to stand with you, they're afraid. They're afraid because that little thing that says, keep the people poor. Once you keep them poor, they will always come looking to you for bread. That is what's happening in West Portland.
Oh no, we lost Doreen.
They are dunce.
Oh
they
my
are dark and they are stupid. They are dunce.
Oh
they
my
are dark and they are stupid.
You know, I hope we
They are
get
dunce.
Oh
they
my
are dark and they are stupid.
I hope we get Doreen back because it looks like her battery probably died. I hope we get her back because this is someone that is truly passionate about the people that she represents or the people that she wants to represent. You can hear it coming out. And the people of Western Portland might know her. Some of you listening might know her. I don't know her. I don't know, Provost. I don't know if you know her. I don't know her. And I want to know, what will you do if you have the position versus what have you been doing? And glad you came back, Doreen. The fact that she has been there, she has been doing, Now we know that here is someone who has been doing, here is someone who wants to do more. Here is someone that is restrained by the tricks in politics. My father used to say, matches tricks in trade and matches sticks in business. Here we have some of the tricks being played. She mentions the censoring or the restrictions in mass media. But when you have platforms like this one that reach people at a level at which some platforms, mass media platforms in Jamaica, not reaching. These are the alliances that need to be made, not for the sake of politics, but for the sake of people.
I did try to speak to you before the election. I don't know if you remember, but I tried. It didn't happen.
I think you muted, Provost. Well, no, you're fine, Doreen. Yeah, you're good.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Doreen, first of all, congratulations on putting up a good fight. And I'm tremendously impressed by your resilience, your courage, and your refusal to go away, because you value what you're doing and you value your community.
Yes.
No, you've been there for quite some time. You are visible. It's not like you go and come, you're there. So my question is this: you're helping people. You're one of them, meaning that you're there, you're visible, you're present, and when they need help, them turn to you. Why is it that they chose not to vote for you and vote for somebody else?
That's a very good question. I was at an event 3 o'clock this morning. I went to a round robin. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah, we know what it is, man. Yeah, man.
Them days ago, I dance.
Yeah.
So no, it's not dance. It's called round robin.
Yeah, everybody support them. Them rotate the venue.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I saw a young man, and he says, "I'm so happy you didn't leave." And instead of me saying, "It's okay, I'm still here," I didn't say that. I'm not going to forget. I said to him, "What difference does it make whether I stay or I left? You still would have voted against me." And he says, "No, don't go, because this time I'm voting for you. I'm voting for someone who's committed to my constituency."
Battery, I think is our battery.
You know, somebody just put in the chat that the one.
Africa Content said that the WhatsApp number not working.
Use it on a Wednesday. Use it on a Wednesday.
Africa call on a Wednesday. Yeah. Call Wednesday night between 7 and 7 and 11.
If you say so.
But folks, you see what I'm talking about. This young lady is exactly the type of person that we should have representing the people of the constituency. She's not going anywhere. You heard it from her mouth. She's not going anywhere. She's gonna stick around. And then I think we had Minister Vaz. Didn't Minister Vaz said that he's not running again? He said something to the effect that this is his last term. But you know,
yeah, that's what he said.
But you know how it is. They say that, and then because power is intoxicating, And when you think about it, and him say, "Boy, I have to give this up now," and then Doreen take it over, and boy, no, sir. Just come back. But go ahead, Doreen.
What I can say to you though is that he would have seen his numbers.
No, finish telling us the story about the young man who said, "I'm voting."
Okay, yeah. So I said to him, it wouldn't have made a difference if I stay or go. And he says, "No, you are here. I will vote for someone that I know is not just going to come and leave," because the last 5 elections, all the candidates that came from the PNP, when they lost, they left. So the PNP didn't develop a trust factor in the constituency with some of the voters. That's one. The second thing he said he was promised. He said he was promised that he would have gotten a backhoe, and that backhoe would have afforded him a certain amount of work. It did not happen. He turned to all the little youngsters around him and he says, "You did not lose because," and I'm not making this up, This happened this morning at 3 a.m. He said, "You didn't lose because JLP voted for Vaz. You lost because PNP voted for Vaz." And I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" He said, "We were afraid. We felt like if we did not support him, the police would have harassed us." This is a set of young guys talking. So remember, one said trust factor. It's the same group of persons. Another said fear factor. And then they come to the conclusion they will not be fooled the next time around. Them fool them not going to fool them the next time around. But I must not leave. In other words, the next time they go to ballot to vote, they don't want to see a brand new PNP candidate on the ballot. No. That's one. I'm going to say something else.
Wait, something wrong with your mic? Yeah, you back up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, please finish.
I'm going to say something else. Elections require money. It requires money. With all the millions my opponent spent, my opponent got the least amount of votes he has ever gotten since he has been in West Portland. I was able to attract 1,008 more persons for the PNP in West Portland. Most people don't even know that. 1,008 more persons came out in this election than the previous general election. But when your opponent has 2,500 majority and you're going in, it's not so easy to just wipe off 2,500, and put on another 500 or 1,000. It's not the easiest thing. But we could have done it. I could have done it. I said the word we because it's a team. But the assistance wasn't there. I did say to you that I tried to get on even your program so I could reach out to those overseas to stand with me because my commitment is there. My tenacity is there. My ability to stand and fight for this seat is there. The people know it. But on election day, when no matter what people say this is illegal, on election day, if you don't put that money in some of these people's hand, they're not going out to vote. And people are now looking at the numbers and realize that Western Portland, which is skewed towards the JLP, and this is something your listeners need to know, Western Portland is skewed towards the JLP. Eastern Portland leans to the PNP. Traditionally, Western Portland votes JLP. So in order to get to where you want to get to, against a kind of Goliath that I ran against, it would have also required some more external support. And I believe the fear factor kept some people away.
Can you hear me?
You're good.
Yeah, couple of questions. One is, you've done, they don't have a word called yo-womans. They have yo-mans, but you know what I mean. You've done yeoman's work there. You're a member of the community. You didn't parachute in, right? And lost, and then you left. You're there. You've done a lot. Two questions. One, is there anything that, apart from reaching out and obtaining external, is there anything else that you thought that you could have done or you're thinking about doing for the next election? That's one. And two is the party, your party, at the end of the day, they make a decision as to who is going to run where. We've seen situations where they had candidates like you and someone came in. Is that a concern of yours? Have you been given some assurance that no, you will remain in place for the next election?
Very good question. The party is a Democratic party. The party cannot give me that assurance that you're going to be the candidate in the next election if we live to see 5 years, 3 to 5 years. The party cannot do that, and they should not do that. It's not their right to do that. It is my responsibility to represent the people over the next couple of years in a way that caused them to believe I should be given the nod a second time around.
Stop. People, I just want to say this. People, you see, when you hear this nonsense, let me play it there. You hear this nonsense, oh wait there, it's gone. No, this nonsense,
Oh my God. And they're stupid.
You see, when you hear this nonsense,
They are dunce.
Oh
my God. And they're stupid.
when you hear this nonsense, I want to think about Doreen. I want to really focus on Doreen and dismiss this nonsense we hear from this politician. You can see that this lady is a thinking person. This is a critical thinker. She's not afraid to get her hands dirty. My impression of Doreen is that Doreen can sit in the highest office and at the same time she can come down to the marketplace and talk to people, and she don't lose a step. She not skip a beat. Hear the answer she gave though. When you hear the answer she gave, right? Hear the answer she gave. Listen carefully not to the answer what she gave now. She could have said anything, but you hear what she said? She said, listen, the party is a Democratic party, and they will not give me that assurance, and I don't expect that assurance. What I expect of me is that between now and then, I am going to continue doing what I've always done, and that is to assist the people in my community. You can't get a better answer than that. But here she is.
Gosh,
And
people are just calling my phone.
no, man. And so people, we just a big you up and tell the people them say, this is the kind of thinking we need. Who represent the type of people that should be sitting in parliament representing people. Because unless you prove me wrong, you're not there for the money. You're there to make a difference in the lives of people. That's what it comes down to. And I just hope and pray that the people who were promised items, support, assistance, and didn't get it, that they'll think twice. Because guess what happened? It's 5 terms now, you know. So for them parents did get tricked too, you know. And now them come now and I get tricked. So how much longer we have to go on with this trickery business before we realize that no, this is not working? So we have 4 minutes left. Doreen, I'm going to invite you back on I'm going to invite you to come back on the program. I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, I love having you here because you're speaking the language of the people. You know, coming to highfalutin thing, although I know that you have the capability to do so, but you realize that, look, I talk to my people then, and I want to break it down to the lowest common denominator so that everybody understand what's going on. So I'll just turn it over now to the professor because he might have to leave in a few minutes and the program ends in about 4 minutes. So I'll have him ask you the final questions and then we'll give you a chance to kind of close us out.
Well, I'm not going to ask you another question. No, I'll wait till you come back. But what I will say to you is just like what you said, keep doing what you're doing. And if you can do more, go ahead and do it. Because the people are seeing. We are seeing. We are willing to give you the support. And Monique Oates for big you up. Let me just toss that in there.
Absolutely.
So when I ask what you do, clearly, if you tell me something, I can find out something else. I mean, put you on blast. So keep doing what you're doing. She tells me that you're a hard worker and a very strategic person. I didn't share this with Will, and here he is saying it himself. So keep on doing what you're doing. I salute you for what you've done so far. And I know you didn't tell the full story, but that's okay. It is for the people that don't know who you are why I ask. Like myself. I can find out, but I want you to talk the things.
Yeah.
So when you come back, Will, that loud. Yeah, that loud. Right. So do take care. Keep doing what you're doing. You have some support, some additional support coming your way.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
No, you can't leave us with just thank you so much for having me. Give the people
I heard
more
music,
inspiration.
so I thought
Inspire
you were...
them a bit more.
You need some contact information. People out there asking how to contact you.
So I am on TikTok, Campbell 2025 on TikTok. I'm very active on TikTok. I've kind of taken a little break from the political posting, but I'm still there. My telephone number, is that okay?
Yeah, man. Producer Joan, you can go ahead and mention it, and Producer Joan will put it up in the chat.
Okay, my telephone number is 876-503-6271. I welcome all the support I can get. It's not the easiest of seats, but I stand with the people.
Well, look, folks, we have our sister. She has come home. She didn't know she have a place right there, so, but now she knows she have a place right there, so and we welcome her. So, Doreen, we want to thank you. Seriously, want to really thank you for sharing your time and your talent with us today, and we look forward to having you again really soon. And people, don't forget, go out and register to vote in the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council upcoming election. You'll hear more about it, but I think voting will start next week. So you have to register and then you can vote. That is minor compared to the subject matter that we run today. So we never get a chance to really do that, but we'll do it on Wednesday. So again, Doreen, thank you so much. Take care of yourself. Be well. Blessings.